The bodhisattvas, those beings who have spontaneous bodhicitta, who are working towards full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings, have this kind of mind of joyous effort. This mind that takes delight in virtue, that wants to benefit all beings. And it's said that they take great delight, great pleasure in their games, just like little children playing with Legos or with little stuffed animals. They take great delight. They're never satiated with benefiting sentient beings, with contributing to the welfare of others. I find this quality really inspiring. Because so often when I look, I see a lot of effort, but not always so much joy. And so I've really seen this in a few situations recently. One, I was laughing inside. I was doing dishes, and my mind was a little bit grumpy, I'll say. And I didn't quite know why. And then Venerable Deki and I started talking, and she was doing her kitchen duty of refilling peanut butter jars, which she said that she was grumbling about that. And so I thought, as a good Dharma friend, I was going to encourage her to be more joyous and to really see the benefit of that action, right? So contributing to all of those people like Venerable Pelge who love peanut butter, who can't get enough protein without peanut butter, and to really see the joy in that and how much you're benefiting others. And then I looked at my own mind and I thought, well, I'm not very joyful doing the dishes right now, so maybe I need to work on my own mind instead of advising others. So I looked and I saw, there was, why am I the only one doing this? Where is the rest of my team? I don't want to be doing this. I shouldn't have to do this. All of that. You know the story. So I thought of this little card that I have on my desk that I don't actually read very often. And I thought, maybe I should read this. So I'll read it. It's from Marshall Rosenberg. So he's the founder of nonviolent communication. And this way of communicating, it's really about connecting with others in a way where we can genuinely benefit others, really connecting from the heart. And he also talks about giving from the heart. So it says, "Please do as I request, only if you can do so with the joy of a young child feeding a hungry duck. Please, 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 do not do as I request if there is any of the following mixed in, even in the tiniest degree. Any fear of punishment if you don't? Any doing it for reward that I'll like you better if you do? Out of any shame or guilt or duty or obligation. Life is too short for us to do anything for each other with any taint like that mixed in with the giving." So this was in the context of when Marshall was beginning to make requests of his children instead of making demands, which I think he was quite good at. And so before making any requests to his children, he would read this to his children so that they knew that he was making a sincere request and that if they chose to, they could say no, because they were very habituated to rebelling or submitting and doing the actions motivated by these tainted, afflictive motivations. And he remembered being in a park with his children and the joy that they had in feeding hungry ducks. And he wanted his children to want to satisfy his request, want to contribute to the family instead of doing it out of obligation, guilt, shame, fear. And so slowly they started to get the message that these were true requests. And then with time, they were starting to say yes, but say yes with a positive motivation because they really wanted to contribute. So I was thinking about this in sort of on the other side of the coin, not so much of making requests of others instead of demands, but in how I do tasks, how I engage in offering service, how I respond to being on the rota for the dishes or the chores or whatever else, how I engage in the actions around the Abbey. And am I acting motivated by any of these? And what I found is that when I am, there is definitely resentment. These motivations breed resentment. They bring anger and disappointment. They're not conducive to what Marshall Rosenberg calls pure giving, giving from the heart. They block our connection with others because we're so worried, we're tight. We're doing it for a worldly motivation. And I was thinking about this in the context of how we set motivations all the time here. We're setting our 3 motivations when we wake up, before meals, before meditation and teachings. And how our motivation not only affects what we're told is our long-term, the long-term effects of an action, the karmic effects, but it also affects our experience of doing the action right now in this very moment. So I was thinking that when we cultivate positive motivations, these motivations to really benefit others, the long-term effects will be good, but we're going to be happy right now. So I was thinking, okay, so what are some of the antidotes to some of these less than desirable motivations? So one is something that Venerable Chodron has often said: we don't have to do anything but die. It's the only thing we have to do. Everything else we're choosing to do. And Marshall Rosenberg makes the same point in his book. We have choice. And we can choose to do it because we see the benefit in doing it. We see how it can contribute to others. Also, I was thinking in the context of Venerable Seppel's, the series of teachings that Venerable Seppel led on transforming happiness, or transforming problems into happiness by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. I am still marveling and benefiting from those teachings. These thought transformation teachings that show us that we can actually choose to change how we think about what we do. And I was thinking in that context that instead of doing only what I like, I could just like everything I'm doing. What a concept! I don't have to go through years of hating changing peanut butter jars or doing the dishes, or I've done a lot of vacuuming here, or getting angry while vacuuming. I can just flip my mind. I can start seeing like how I like clean spaces. Others like clean spaces. I appreciate dishes and utensils. I like to eat. So why be angry when you have to cook? Or when you get to cook, you choose to cook. So it's very simple in that way. We can change our mind. And also, yeah, just so it's thinking about cause and effect, right? So if we want the effect of a clean house, or health for our children, or food on the table, whatever it is, if we want the effect and we enjoy the effect, then why aren't we enjoying the cause of that effect? Thinking about causality in this way. And that how it's beneficial to us now, it's beneficial to others because they're not with grumpy people doing the dishes. And it creates what we'll be talking about this weekend is good karma. So while we're engaged in all of these activities, and I'm sure there'll be things this weekend that you might not want to do, but you can change your mind. We can all change our mind, which is actually why we're all here, right? Is to change our mind. So it's not about, well, I don't have the joy of a little kid feeding a hungry duck, so I can't do anything. Rather, it's while we're engaged in whatever we're engaged in, we simply change our motivation. We simply go from, and it really is what I've noticed in my mind, if I have any thought of dislike, there's unhappiness, there's grumbling. And so to question that, to investigate, why am I telling myself, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't want to do this? If I can catch that, and please help me when I don't catch that and it starts coming out of my mouth, we're all going to be happier. And I think we'll be more productive. I'll be more productive. I won't have so much resistance and guilt and shame and fear and expectation of reward. Because what kind of reward do we need if what we're doing itself brings us happiness? If we're enjoying the act of creating virtue, then we don't need to expect anything in the future. We can just enjoy, right? So then we'll create good karma, have a happy mind, and we are all much happier.
I don't actually see obligation as necessarily a negative, like somebody's obligating you to something that you don't want to do. I think you can commit yourself to things and feel a sense of obligation, and that's, I don't see that as problematic.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're doing is we're taking the responsibility to lead all sentient beings to awakening. We're committing ourselves to really promote the Buddha Dharma in the world. We're taking, we're making commitment to our practice. So in that way, yes, yeah, obligation. I mean, Marshall, I think, is taking it in a negative way, like this sense of duty, a burden. But we can also take it as strength, as courage. I've made this commitment.